Menus are the main way users navigate through an iPhone application. So this is what we're going to start with today. It's like the skeleton of a web app. What we need in our project directory is these folders, as you can see. So just create these folders. I've got a couple of videos in here, couple of not a couple of, I've got a background for the web app and the small arrow you're going to see later when we start using them, and we've got a couple of audio files, and the assets directory is where we put like JavaScript and CSS files, etc. So at the moment I've got a main.css which is empty, and I've got an index.html, and if you just pause the screen and type what you see here, basically this is this menu here, and we're going to style this menu to look like a nice web app. As you can see, I'm getting the style sheet, the CSS information, in an external file, or from an external file, because I want to use the same file throughout my HTML pages, i.e. I don't want to keep typing the same CSS in each HTML. So this is how you link it. For this tutorial, I expect you to know basic HTML, CSS, etc. So I'm just going to teach you how to use that knowledge in order to create a web app. I'm not going to actually teach you HTML or CSS or whatever. So that said, let's change this menu and make it look like more of like a web app. So I'm going to start styling the body first. So as you can see, I'm setting the margin and the padding, and also the default font for the page. And then I'm just going to give it a background that looks very similar to a iPhone background. So I've got an iPhone image which I created in Photoshop. If I do URL, let me get the name of my Okay, this is what our page looks like at the moment. Still doesn't look that pretty, but let's change the heading, or the header one, as in the home page. Usually, if you're familiar with iPhone, for example, often you see a header in shape of a long bar, grey bar at the top. So I'm just going to copy and paste that, and if you pause this video and type out what you see in here, I'm just setting the margins, the font up here, but also I'm setting a background image using WebKit. WebKit is an excellent technology associated with CSS3. You can do various things such as give it a gradient, color, round borders, etc. So if I just refresh this, you'll see what it does to the homepage. Still, I need to change this color, which I'll do in a minute, but you can see we've got a nice background now. Now let's just change the actual style of the link. The reason why it's blue, because it's a link here, as you can see, because eventually when the user clicks on the whole bar, we want the website to take him somewhere. Let's just copy and paste that. There you go. We've got a nice iPhone looking title bar at the top. Just a note that this display block here is quite important. It makes the entire bar clickable. If I remove that just to demonstrate what it does and refresh, you notice only the text is clickable, and once you move to the right of it or left of it, it's not a link anymore. So let's just put that back. Like that. Okay, now let's style this menu here. So let's go back to the main index file. We've created a style sheet for the header, and as you can see, the results are up here. Let's start styling the navigation here. So we want to create something for the h2 tag. I'm just gonna copy and paste just to make things quicker. I don't need to explain everything. As I said, I'm not going to explain CSS or teach you CSS. So if I refresh there, we've got a nice style now for the navigation headers. Let's start styling the actual menu now. So I'm just going to add a style sheet for the navigation. If you go back to the HTML file, the index one, you'll see got a nav tag with an ID of nav menu, and then a unordered list. So let's just go here, and what I'm going to do is basically set the padding to 0, remove the bulleted points here, these circles, small dark circles, improve the margin, give it the background color and the border, and using WebKit I'm going to give it a nice shadow and radius. If I refresh this now, oops, did I actually save it? Save it. There you go. Now then we're going to deal with each link individually. So what you need is add the following. Again, you need to pause your screen in order to keep up with me. So I'm treating each list and each link within a list differently. So this will have a style and this will have the same style. So let's just refresh that. There you go. It's quite pretty. It's coming along. Notice I've added this. It's a background image, a small arrow that I created in Photoshop here. As you know, often in iPhone's menus you see a small arrow to the right, and then you give the arrow a position and whether it should be repeated. Now for the first item and the last item in the list, you do not want this border here. You can see this small line at the top. Doesn't look nice, so let's just remove them by adding the following. Basically saying the first child in the list shouldn't have a border at the top, and the last one shouldn't have a bottom border. So let's just refresh this. Now it looks much prettier, more rounded, and that's it really for the menu tutorial. In the next tutorial I'm going to show you how to use viewports to customize this menu for the iPad, as in the menu can be switched on and off for the iPad. Join us in the next one and you'll see what I mean.